You don't need dusty hardware or emulators to enjoy the best of classic role-playing. Thanks to enhanced editions, digital storefronts, and modern ports, these genre-defining adventures are just a download away. From Infinity Engine epics to groundbreaking immersive sims, here are 10 timeless RPGs you can fire up right now. No tinkering required. Few games embody the classic CRPG spirit like Baldur's Gate, and the Enhanced Edition lets you experience it without wrestling with ancient hardware or mods. First released in 1998, this BioWare masterpiece still sets the gold standard for party-based fantasy adventures. The updated edition includes modern resolutions, UI tweaks, and extra content, but wisely preserves the rich Dungeons and Dragons mechanics and the sprawling, choice-driven story that made the original legendary. You play as a foster child of the wise Gorian, thrust into a realm-wide conspiracy after a violent ambush. From the bustling streets of Baldur's Gate itself to the deadly wilderness of the Sword Coast, every encounter feels alive with possibility. Recruit a memorable cast, from the hilarious but dangerous Minsk and his miniature giant space hamster Boo to the morally ambiguous thief Amon, and shape their fates with your decisions. Combat still uses the AD&D 2nd Edition rules, but the pause-and-play system remains satisfyingly tactical, letting you set up clever ambushes or save a fight gone wrong. The Enhanced Edition folds in the tales of the Sword Coast expansion, new party members, and cross-platform multiplayer, so you can adventure with friends whether they're on PC, tablet, or console. It also smooths over the rough edges of the late 90s interface, making inventory management and spellcasting much more accessible. Yet it doesn't dilute the challenge or complexity that longtime fans adore. For newcomers, this version is the easiest way to step into one of RPG history's most influential worlds. For veterans, it's a perfect excuse to revisit a campaign where every dialogue choice still feels weighty and every battle can surprise you. 2 decades on, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition proves that some adventures never lose their magic. When Dragon's Dogma first released in 2012, it was easy to overlook. Sandwiched between bigger budget RPGs and lacking the name recognition of a Skyrim or Dark Souls, Capcom's ambitious open-world action RPG seemed destined for cult status. Yet over the years, its fiercely devoted community has proven how special it is. The Dark Arisen Edition, available on modern platforms, bundles the full game with its challenging expansion, polishing rough edges while preserving its unique identity. What sets it apart is its thrilling, physics-driven combat. Battles against towering beasts like griffins or chimeras feel alive as you scramble up their bodies to target weak points or sever tails mid-fight. The vocation system encourages experimentation. Start as a nimble strider, switch to a spell-slinging sorcerer, or blend classes into hybrid vocations that completely change your playstyle. Your party of AI-controlled pawns adds another twist, as you can recruit other players' companions online, learning from their tactics and sharing your own. The world of Granzees invites exploration, from sunlit plains to cavernous dungeons that feel genuinely dangerous after dark. Day-night cycles dramatically shift the mood. Journeys that seem safe in daylight become tense survival treks at night when deadly creatures emerge. The expansion's Bitter Black cranks up the difficulty, offering some of the most intense encounters in action RPG history. While its story is understated compared to traditional epics, the narrative hides mind-bending twists that reward those who see it through. With its dynamic combat, robust class system, and a living world that encourages risk-taking, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen has aged gracefully into a must-play for RPG fans. Whether you missed it the first time or want to revisit with sharper visuals and smoother performance, this edition proves why the game has earned enduring cult status. BioWare's Neverwinter Nights was a technological marvel in 2002, blending a full single-player Dungeons and Dragons campaign with a toolkit that let players create their own adventures. The Enhanced Edition faithfully updates that ambitious design so it runs seamlessly on today's PCs while keeping everything that made it revolutionary. The official campaign follows a hero racing to stop a magical plague threatening the city of Neverwinter. While its story is solid high fantasy, the real magic lies in the Aurora toolset, which empowered fans to build and share their own modules and persistent worlds. Decades later, countless community-made campaigns, ranging from epic sagas to intimate character studies, are still available, meaning you could play for years without running out of new quests. The Enhanced Edition adds improved graphics, native widescreen support, and easier mod integration, but it doesn't compromise the original's depth. You'll still choose from classic D&D classes, engage in party-based combat, and roleplay through branching dialogue. Multiplayer remains a highlight, whether you're running a private dungeon crawl with friends or hopping into a persistent online world that feels like a living tabletop session. For newcomers, this edition is the best way to experience a game that blurred the line between player and creator. For veterans, it's an excuse to revisit old favorite modules or finally finish that custom campaign you started years ago. Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is more than a game. It's a platform for endless storytelling that still thrives 2 decades later.
I was expecting Arabeth.
While Baldur's Gate is often the Infinity Engine poster child, Icewind Dale deserves equal admiration for perfecting the tactical side of Dungeons and Dragons combat. Released in 2000 by Black Isle Studios, this classic trades sweeping political drama for a focused, combat-heavy expedition through the frozen spine of the world. It's less about intrigue and more about the thrill of building an unstoppable party and surviving brutal encounters in some of the harshest landscapes the Forgotten Realms has to offer. Unlike its story-driven siblings, this game hands you the reins of creation from start. You don't just pick a protagonist. You craft an entire 6-character party, deciding every stat, skill, and spell. Want a team of berserker barbarians or a meticulous balance of mages and rogues? The choice is yours, and the payoff comes when battles demand tight formation, precise spell timing, and clever crowd control. The game's tactical depth rewards planning, rewarding players who experiment with synergy and strategy. The Enhanced Edition makes this formidable adventure easy to access today. It updates the visuals to widescreen, integrates modern quality of life features, and restores cut content while keeping the original's crunchy combat intact. The atmospheric soundtrack swells over gorgeous hand-painted backdrops, drawing you deeper into a land of snowbound villages and haunted ruins. Though it lacks the branching politics of Baldur's Gate or the philosophical musings of Planescape Torment, Icewind Dale shines as a pure, unapologetic dungeon crawler. For players who crave challenging tactical RPG action and the joy of orchestrating perfect party synergy, this frosty classic remains one of the most rewarding D&D experiences you can play today. Few RPGs capture the magic of choice-driven storytelling like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare's 2003 masterpiece that remains the gold standard for Star Wars games. Set thousands of years before the films, it lets you carve your own path as a Jedi or Sith during a time of galactic turmoil. Available today on PC, mobile devices, Nintendo Switch, and modern Xbox consoles, it's never been easier to experience this timeless adventure. From the moment you awaken aboard the Indar Spire under attack, this game gives you complete agency. Will you embody the noble light side or embrace the dark? Your decisions shape relationships, dialogue, and even the game's climactic ending. Companions feel alive, offering moral challenges and memorable banter that elevate the narrative beyond a simple good versus evil tale. Combat blends Dungeons and Dragons-inspired turn-based mechanics with real-time action, allowing for tactical depth without slowing the pace. Exploration spans bustling city worlds like Taris, the desert expanses of Tatooine, and the mysterious Star Forge, each filled with secrets, side quests, and lore for die-hard Star Wars fans. The orchestral score channels John Williams' iconic themes while adding its own stirring motifs, pulling you deeper into the galaxy far, far away. Despite its age, modern ports polish visuals, streamline controls, and ensure compatibility across devices. Even now, KOTOR stands tall as one of the finest RPGs ever made. Whether you're a lifelong Star Wars devotee or just love deep, choice-driven adventures. This classic remains a shining example of how great storytelling and player freedom can create an experience that never fades. Before Bethesda's open-world take on the series, Fallout began as a pair of isometric RPGs brimming with dark humor, moral ambiguity, and post-nuclear grit. Both the 1997 original and its 1998 sequel are readily available on GOG and Steam, with modern compatibility tweaks, so you can dive right in without fan patches. The first Fallout casts you as a vault dweller searching for a water purification chip, but the quest quickly spirals into a desperate fight for humanity's future. Fallout 2 expands everything: world size, choice, and outrageous satire, as you guide the Chosen One to find a Garden of Eden creation kit. Together, they laid the foundation for every Fallout game that followed. Turn-based tactical combat, special stats, branching dialogue, and the freedom to be a hero, villain, or something in between. What makes these classics endure isn't just nostalgia. It's how reactive their worlds feel. Choices have real consequences. Factions remember your actions, and the biting, darkly comic writing still lands today. The isometric perspective and slower combat may surprise players raised on modern shooters, but the strategic depth and freedom of approach remain captivating. Thanks to digital storefronts, these games install and run on modern hardware with minimal fuss, often including quality-of-life extras like configurable resolution or fan-favorite mods. If you've only explored Fallout's wastelands in 3D, stepping back to these originals is like opening a time capsule full of brilliant ideas that still feel daring. They prove that great storytelling and player agency never go out of style. Long before BioShock turned immersive sim into a buzzword, System Shock was quietly inventing it. Released in 1994, this cyberpunk classic blended first-person exploration, RPG progression, and environmental storytelling into something the gaming world hadn't seen before. You play as an unnamed hacker who awakens on Citadel Station, a vast orbital research hub now ruled by Shodan, an artificial intelligence whose warped, taunting voice still ranks among gaming's most chilling villains. From the first moments, System Shock demands attention and ingenuity. There's no mini-map holding your hand or glowing quest markers to follow. Instead, you roam freely across multi-level decks packed with security cameras, deadly cyborgs, and encrypted logs that slowly reveal how Shodan sees control. Every corridor feels dangerous. Ammunition and health are scarce, so improvisation is survival. Sneaking past patrols, hacking terminals to disable defenses, or piecing together scattered clues to unlock the next sector. Combat is tense and deliberate, forcing you to weigh every shot against dwindling resources. What keeps System Shock vital today is its atmosphere and freedom. Citadel Station is a living maze of interconnected spaces that rewards exploration and careful observation. Audio logs flesh out a story of corporate hubris and runaway AI that still feels unervingly relevant. Thanks to modern releases, you don't need to wrestle with retro hardware. The enhanced edition sharpens controls and resolution while preserving the original's intricate design, and the 2023 remake rebuilds everything in modern visuals and fluid gunplay without sacrificing the oppressive mood. Whether you're a history buff curious about the roots of games like Prey and Deus Ex, or just crave a tense, player-driven sci-fi adventure, it remains a masterclass in immersive design. Before Skyrim conquered the world, Morrowind redefined what an open-world RPG could be. Released in 2002, it dropped players into the alien-looking province of Vardenfell, a volcanic island of giant mushrooms, floating cantons, and ancient ruins, without a guiding hand. No quest markers, no mini-map breadcrumbs, just a journal and the freedom to carve your own path through a land steeped in strange cultures and political intrigue. The game thrives on discovery. One moment you're wandering ash-storm deserts. The next you're infiltrating a secret Daedric shrine or levitating above the city of Vivec. Factions from the Scholarly Mages Guild to the shadowy Morag Tong offer competing loyalties, and the main quest, Unraveling the prophecy of an Ereverine can be pursued immediately or ignored for hundreds of hours. Dialogue is dense and rewarding, with every NPC offering unique bits of lore or rumor. Its combat and interface show their age, but mod support and the Xbox and PC releases keep it alive and approachable. Modern texture packs, UI tweaks, and even complete overhauls can make it feel surprisingly contemporary while preserving its sense of mystery. The game's willingness to trust players to read directions, explore, and occasionally get lost creates an immersion few modern titles match. For those who found Skyrim a little too streamlined, Morrowind remains the purest expression of the Elder Scrolls ethos, a sprawling, unpredictable world where curiosity is the only compass. 2 decades on, Vardenfell still feels like a place you live in rather than a map you complete. A true landmark in open-world design that rewards patience with unforgettable adventure. Arcanum is a singular RPG that fuses high fantasy with industrial-age steampunk, creating a world where magic and technology uneasily coexist. Released in 2001 by Troika Games, it delivers staggering freedom of choice that still feels ahead of its time. You can play as anything from an orc technologist to a human sorcerer, and the game's systems react dynamically to those decisions. Pick magic and technological devices may fail around you. Embrace machinery, and the arcane might fizzle. Your adventure begins as the sole survivor of a mysterious airship crash, setting you on a quest to uncover a conspiracy that spans crumbling wizard towers, soot-choked industrial cities, and rural villages struggling to balance tradition with progress. Dialogue trees branch wildly, offering solutions through persuasion, intimidation, or raw force. Whole quest lines can open or close based on your background, alliances, or even the race you choose. Combat is flexible. You can go real-time for frantic brawls or switch to turn-based tactics for deliberate strategy. And while the interface shows its age, the writing remains top-notch, exploring themes of industrialization, racism, and societal upheaval with surprising nuance. Every playthrough can feel radically different, and the soundtrack's haunting strings set a perfect mood for its morally gray world. The GOG release makes it easy to experience without wrestling with old discs or compatibility patches, bundling key updates and community fixes. For players who crave freedom and consequence in their role-playing, Arcanum stands as a fascinating, ambitious journey that no modern game quite replicates. It's messy, yes, but gloriously so, a cult classic that rewards curiosity and experimentation even decades later. Planescape Torment has a strange, philosophical soul. Originally released in 1999, this is a game more about questions than combat. Questions about identity, mortality, and what it means to change. The Enhanced Edition keeps its unforgettable story intact while polishing the visuals and interface so it plays smoothly on modern PCs and tablets. You awaken as the Nameless One, a scarred immortal who's lived countless lives but remembers none of them. To discover who you are and why you can't die, you'll explore the bizarre city of Sigil, a place where demons, angels, and everything in between mingle under the watchful eye of the enigmatic Lady of Pain. Companions like the floating skull Mort or the fiery warrior Ignis each carry their own secrets, and their interactions with you can dramatically shape the narrative. Combat exists, but it's rarely the focus. Dialogue trees sprawl with options, and nearly every encounter can be resolved through conversation, persuasion, or clever skill use. The writing is sharp, layered, and often darkly funny, encouraging multiple playthroughs to see how different choices ripple across the multiverse. The Enhanced Edition updates the Infinity Engine for higher resolutions and modern operating systems, adds developer commentary, and lets you tweak quality of life settings without losing the game's distinctive 2D art and haunting soundtrack. It feels like a lovingly restored classic novel, not just a nostalgia trip. For anyone curious about how deep and mature RPG storytelling can go, the Enhanced Edition remains essential. It doesn't just tell a story. It asks you to live it, confront uncomfortable truths, and decide what kind of person your immortal wanderer will ultimately become. Few games before or since have dared to be this introspective, and now it's easier than ever to experience its singular journey.